Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell, and I'm not in the United States.
I am in the United States. It sucks. Hey, it's Nick Gambarian.
Hey, it's Mike Forster, also in Los Estados Unidos, and from my new family room, which is less echoey than my office.
You sound great.
Thank
More
you
family,
so much.
more room.
Yeah, with a sinus infection. We're here with our dear friend. I'm not even going to introduce him. Introduce yourself, bro.
I am Justin Sonfield.
Hello, Justin Sonfield.
Wow.
Wow.
The man of many titles.
Many
Yeah.
titles. Just while you're introducing yourself, tell the people all your titles.
I make costumes in the 501st Legion, and
Bingo.
I help make shirts at Roosevelt's.
Yes, also bingo.
Very humble
Love that.
pseudo titles that you just gave yourself.
Yep.
Non-titles.
Non-titles.
A new
Um,
title since you were last on.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's
Legion
true.
Legion Commanding Officer of the 501st Legion and CEO of Roosevelt's.
Wow.
The Roosevelt's,
The
clothing
best
brand that
shirt
people-
company on the planet.
Yeah, people may be familiar. We talk about Roosevelt's a little bit around here. We wear the blouses. We wear the pants.
The torso cover.
Well, actually, I haven't worn the pants yet. I've worn the shorts.
Yeah, wear the pants. The pants are fun.
Damn, we need some pants.
I would love to have some.
I'm waiting for pants weather to come back here. We're just
Yeah.
now in Southern California. It's also almost September. We are just getting hot now. So I don't know what that means. It's literally just
Oh, yeah,
85 to like
it was
early 90s now.
So cool. When we were
Totally.
there a
Yeah.
couple
We're
weeks ago.
just hitting
Yeah.
summer now and it's almost September. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's already 50 here. It's cold, so I'm pants mode engaged. Adam, you were down in Brazil.
I am.
You were playing a couple. You're playing
Come
a
to
couple
Brazil.
tours.
Yeah, we're on the.
You come to Brazil.
They said come to Brazil, and we said okay. We're on the I Wanna Be festival, which is a single show. A single show, and each weekend, 2 shows spread apart by a week, which ended up turning into a couple side shows between, but still 10 days, 4 shows. So it's a lot of downtime. So we've been doing some.
It's like the old Soundwave days in Australia.
Yeah. So it's really weird. I feel like I've been here for a month and I played like a show and a half. It's really bizarre, but
Right.
Brazilian fans are just out of control, amazing. So it's been fun. We're here with Yellow Card and Fallout Boy, Good Charlotte, the Main, lots of Brazilian bands as well, and some other bands that I'm not remembering off the top of my head because my brain's old and it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's a good time. Like I said, Brazilian fans are just like kind of the craziest in the world, honestly. Like I remember the first time we came down here. Nick, have you been here with Bayside?
Nope, never.
The first time it was like people just like climbing the walls, like the place was about to catch on fire. It was just
I
so
love that.
intense.
I'm
So,
jealous.
super loud and they love music, so we're happy to be here playing music.
That's nice. That's real nice. You did come to Brazil.
Mhm.
Well, and speaking of showing up and being very excited for something, we all got a little surprise drop.
Yes.
Different than the topic that we're going to talk about later in the episode, but let's get into it. What are we talking about today?
So as you can see from the thumbnail and the title, we planned on talking about kids and whether or not they watch Star Wars, younger generations. But then we got a cast announcement for Star Wars Starfighter, which was first teased at Star Wars Celebration. We saw Ryan Gosling. We saw Ken himself come out on stage in person. Everybody lost their minds,
Beautiful, man.
myself included.
Crazy.
It's a cast announcement and also the first. Does anyone know? I didn't look too deeply. Is it just like a behind the scenes photo, or is it meant to be, because it is so dark and kind of grainy, is it meant to be an in-universe shot?
I didn't get that.
know.
I just
Yeah.
got that production was starting. I think this was like Zack Snyder saying, "Here's what Batman looks like," and he also
Right.
has a new Batmobile.
Well, let's bring it up on the on screen here.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, Jason's here too. Hey,
Wow.
Jason.
Well, look, the way Jason's in here.
That's fun. Producer
Um,
Jason.
we're looking at it right now, and the way the shadow lays, I suppose there could be some supports there that haven't been CG'd out, but they're leaning on a speeder. I don't know. It's black and white. This
looks like Solo on Corellia to me,
yes, absolutely.
which I dig.
Fan.
Yeah, so this could go either way. It's a promo shot. It's black and white, but it looks amazing. It's a speeder that is really giving like Camaro, Firebird type vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosling's got a mullet. He's with this kid. We'll talk about him momentarily. The actor in the cast reveal. I think this lends more credence to what we hypothesized this this movie might be about. The idea that he's like I compared him
Reluctant uncle.
yeah, but also like as almost like a Chuck Yeager test pilot, like seat of his pants, like flyboy kind of guy that ends up on some kind of mission.
Sure. Escorting this kid out, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of get the sense from this. Well, can we also appreciate for a second Disney casually just I was following along enough to know that who is the Nora? What was her name? The dark-haired actress.
Oh, yeah. I don't know her name, but
Nick. You're good at this.
I don't remember.
Dang it.
Mikey
Mikey
right?
Madison.
Yeah.
yeah. There you
Madison or Madison. She was rumored for the role that Mia Goth ended up getting, which Mia Goth has her own following. Matt Smith has his own following, who are quite loyal to the projects that they're a part of. And so I think we had all heard about those announcements. And then today, finding out that Amy Adams, casually Amy Adams.
Yeah.
Amy Adams.
There you go.
Like crazy. This cast is
Carson Daly, that third guy. They're bringing Carson Daly's acting debut to Star Wars. Crazy.
So I'll say about this cast.
Voice.
Generally speaking, I know almost no one in it aside from Amy Adams, who's a household name. She's been in everything forever.
Right.
Matt Smith, who was the Doctor in Doctor Who from 2010 to 2014, I want to say. And
House of the Dragon most recently. And he has a new Darren Aronofsky, or no, wait, what's the new one with Austin Butler? It's
yeah. Caught Stealing or something.
Yeah. Looks awesome. Heard it's great. He's in that.
And then Mia Goth, is it Goth or Goth?
Goth, for sure.
I mean, it checks out. She wears the name well. But aside from that, Aaron Pierre, Daniel Ings, Flynn Gray, Simon Bird, and Namiel Westman. I don't know any of these folks.
Aaron Pierre is about to be
He's in Lanterns, right?
Yeah, he's about to be a big deal. He's going to be Jon Stewart in James Gunn's new DCU build-up. So there's a couple Green Lanterns. Most people just saw Guy Gardner in the Superman movie.
Sick haircut.
For sure. Classic, famously so. Sick.
Yeah.
But he's going to be Jon Stewart in Lanterns, which is the Green Lantern Corps. There's multiple lanterns. So I think most probably his bigger role was kind of I would say movies that The Rock used to do, where it was kind of like a, lone guy against the corrupt cops and the corrupt city bureaucrats in a Netflix show recently. But yeah, he's good. He's very good. So this is exciting news.
But a handful of unknowns or smaller actors not yet known as well, kind of on the come up, which I think is awesome. That's faithful to the way George did things from the beginning. So it's exciting. A few known names to anchor, and then some new faces.
Yeah, and even Mia Goth is going to be new to a lot of people.
Right.
Like her bigger roles are like the whole Maxine Pearl, like that trilogy, but like
A24 stuff.
Yeah, but like really how successful were those? Like they're not necessarily household movies. I think they're big in like the horror world, but
right.
I think she's going to be like a new face for a lot of people.
No, she's very good. She's a very good actor. And I have a feeling Mia Goth and Matt Smith are going to be the bad guys, to assume.
I can see her. She has, such a striking look and unique look. She could play a non-human humanoid and pull it off really well. Or she could just look cool like she looks and be a human character.
She could just play herself. Like, hello, I'm Mia Goth.
Yeah, look at me. So we got the release date at Celebration, May 28th, 2027. Sean Levy is directing. The quote is from Sean Levy: "I feel a profound sense of excitement and honor as we begin production on Star Wars Starfighter. From the day Kathleen Kennedy called me up, inviting me to develop an original adventure in this incredible Star Wars galaxy, this experience has been a dream come true, creatively and personally. Star Wars shaped my sense of what story can do and how characters and cinematic moments can live with us forever. To join this storytelling galaxy with such brilliant collaborators on screen and off is the thrill of a lifetime." I feel you, dog.
It's pretty exciting. Sean Levy, I think for people who are probably most up to date with him, did Deadpool and Wolverine, which I know some people are like, did it make a ton of money? It did. Was it an amazing movie? Not sure about that, but again, I think we're here for entertainment at this point. We want to see a great action film. This is kind of some of the conversation we'll have later. But Sean Levy's also done Night at the Museum. He's known mostly for a lot of like comedic episodes in TV. I think, though, to Ryan Key's point when we got this announcement was that Ryan Gosling does not do bad scripts.
Yeah.
Like he is very, very, very cautious about the roles that he takes. And I honestly can't. Ryan Key's like, name a bad Ryan Gosling movie. And I was like, that's easy. And I just stalled out. I was like, now that you're saying that, I honestly can't think of any. So,
I mean, you could name some movies that weren't absolute smash hits that made a ton of money, but they were still really good, entertaining movies.
As of his run, as of the last 5 to 8 years, he has been unstoppable.
Yeah.
Even the smaller roles like Drive and Place Beyond the Pines, like his roles that were not like these huge, hey, look, it's Ryan Gosling in our movie. He crushes those roles. So, I mean, this is incredibly encouraging for people who are like, what can we be expecting? I don't think this is going to be I don't want to say that this is going to be a movie made for the fans as much as Mando and Grogu is. I think this is going to be a fantastic movie set in the Star Wars universe.
Something just hit me. We speculated, you think about what kind of character he might be playing. It's really giving Han Solo. You know what I mean? And he's got that attitude and wit. He's a handsome guy, a well-loved actor. If the timing was different, actually the timing didn't even have to be different. He could have played Han in Solo. The voice, that's something that is, he doesn't have that bassy deep voice, but either does Alden,
Something else that's interesting that came up about this. And I don't want to speculate too hard. Of course, at the time, you have a lot of the actors from the sequel trilogy that are looking to distance themselves from Star Wars. Any good actor is actually going to do that. Adam Driver does it almost fantastically to a point where you forget that he's in movies because he literally is like, I'm going to do one day of press and then you're never going to hear from me again outside of just go see the movie. But recently Oscar Isaac was like, I would love to come back to Star Wars if the script is good.
Yeah.
Right. Which makes me think at first we're like, oh, Star Wars Starfighter, it's going to be the X-Wing movie. Sneak Attack. What if the X-Wing movie is actually for Oscar Isaac? And this is a great movie to get people back on board with Star Wars.
Do you think that if the script is good is a backhanded thing at all?
I think for the...
I thought about that when I heard him say that. I'm like, is he kind of talking shit? Or
I mean, I don't think it's a secret that they were rewriting parts of. I mean, they're literally doing it right now with Doomsday.
Yeah, I know. I bite my tongue every time I'm about to comment and be like, "This can't be good, right?"
No,
that they're
right,
like,
right.
we're writing the movie right now and filming it. Like, I know that that's like a thing, but it seems like the way social media is presenting it right now is that they're like, well, what if he does this? Oh, no, okay. No, what if he does this? You know,
let's try it.
Actors on a green screen, not in the room with like other actors. I'm sure all that stuff always happens, but the way it's being like interneted right now is like scary.
Sure. Well, I think,
but to play devil's advocate though, like everything is interneted, like to your point, and that's always happened. Like arguably the greatest action movie of all time, like the creator of the modern action blockbuster, Die Hard, was famously written completely on the fly during production. So,
well, there's I think for Oscar Isaac's standpoint is that he's experiencing what the Rise of Skywalker. I think at this point there's been enough information out there to go, this movie was pushed by the studio to hit a certain date. And I think from that standpoint, I think that's why I think a lot of the actors had a hard time with it, because I'm sure going up there and going, who's the most happy about this? Seems like it's Bob Iger. It made a ton of money. He wanted it out at a certain time. That's not to say that there aren't people who don't love the movie. There's people who have plenty of criticisms about the movie. There were great moments in the movie, but I think from Oscar Isaac's standpoint, he has matured a lot as an actor since then. I mean, you're talking however many years, almost 7 years ago from when he filmed it. I can understand that he would be more picky now to go, I'm coming back for a great script, which is what I think is actually the biggest issue with most modern blockbusters right now.
He also got clipped out the most out of Rise of Skywalker, like as far as like somehow Palpatine returned. That's like the meme.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, I think, Nick, to your point, like just I'll do it if it's a good script is also just an easy way to plant seeds, dodge a question if asked. You know, it's kind of a, hashtag more to come.
Yeah, but let's also be real. We've seen good Star Wars writing, you know?
Yeah.
So there is that at this point, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor praising Andor this past weekend, being like, I wish Obi-Wan Kenobi was in Andor season 3. I think everyone's watching it like, I wish I was in Andor season 3.
Yeah.
I think from, if they are something that we're going to talk later about, but it's like you get Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick and F1. I don't think either of those movies have great scripts, but I think that they're well designed blockbuster movies that I could see Oscar Isaac crushing the role of.
Totally.
Either of those roles. I think that he has the gravitas at this point. Even in universe, I think he would crush it. So that could be another option for them to look at in terms of going thinner on the story, bigger on the action.
Yeah, but ultimately, what they need is an original story,
right?
This has got to be a new story,
right?
New story with using the classic Star Wars mythological archetypes,
right?
Hero's journey, yada yada yada.
Hey, good segue into what does Gen Z want?
Let's see if we can figure it out on this very podcast.
I'm 45. Let me figure it out.
I'm 52. I know everything.
Oh man, we got Gen X millennials just bashing their heads trying to figure out who these youths are.
I present as a boomer though.
I
present as a Gen Z.
Boomer presenting.
Yeah, that's true.
You're inverted.
Yeah.
So a Variety article dropped. Was it yesterday or today? Maybe the day before. Quote, Disney's boy trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. You guys all read the article, I assume?
Yep.
It was, they did make it a point to remind us that this is something that all studios are dealing with, trying to figure out. It's nothing new. Insert whatever generation is the youngest at the time that everyone's freaking out trying to how to appeal to young people.
Right.
And that Disney is actually the studio that all of the other studios are wishing they could do as well as yet again. and that persists.
Right.
But we are at a time in history where, much like when TV first became an absolute mainstream thing and the movie studios freaked out, where there's so much more content that people have access to, it's harder to get people in the theaters or even to sit down in their own home and watch a feature-length film. But I think this is still another level. I mean, because of what the internet is and what streaming has become, it's unprecedented. Although it feels like it's similar to what's happened in the past. It's more.
Right.
So the rumor is leadership at Walt Disney has been pressing Hollywood creatives for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a quote meaningful way. Young men being ages 13 to 28, so Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're looking at Gen Alpha as well. Obviously, it's Disney. They make cartoons. They make little kid shit.
Mm-hmm.
No cap.
No cap on God. So Mike and Justin, being dads of humans, or Nick and I, we just stay dog dadding. We thought it would be cool to hear your perspectives on what your kids are into, whether or not your efforts to indoctrinate them as Star Wars fans have been successful. And I'll bring up conversations I've had with my bandmates. Like Ryan Phillips swears up and down all the time kids don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is what I was just talking about before. There's so much more. The idea of a monoculture is all but gone. Let's start by talking about what your kids are into, how big of a deal Star Wars is in their life. Is it just the thing that Dad does? Tell the people.
Justin,
I'll go
tell
first.
tell us everything.
So, I will take the blame for bringing my child to his first Star Wars movie in the theater. Actually, we watched Star Wars when he was 3.5 months old, I believe, for the first time, and he seemed to love it. His first word was rebels. No
Nice.
crap. His first word was rebels. What do you want to watch? Rebels, and like it, and he used to take the figures and line them up. Saw every movie multiple times. Would follow us to troops in the 501st, always wearing a costume. Really, really, really into it. As he started to mature, Star Wars definitely fell down the ladder. And he's really into Marvel, like really, really into Marvel. He's into Deadpool and he's 11 now for everybody that doesn't know. Really into Deadpool and Wolverine. But here's the thing. His absolute favorite action figure is Anakin Skywalker. He got it at Celebration. And he's going nuts in there playing Gorilla Tag, and that's all that he's into, by the way. He's into Discord, Gorilla Tag, and like, designing. I mean, he's designing shirts. He's really into drawing. He's really, really into drawing and doing animation and doing Gorilla Tag movies. But his favorite thing right now is he will watch Episode 3 parodies and like Anakin and Padme doing things, and probably not necessarily age appropriate, but he is in love with Episode 3 right now. It's like
but it's YouTube Shorts, basically.
Well, he's doing the YouTube Shorts, but he's also going back and watching the movie, and he's got this hot toy that's the Anakin hot toy from the show. Well, the other day, right after, so he loved Skeleton Crew. He cosplayed Skeleton Crew. He got to meet the whole cast and really, really was into Skeleton Crew. If they did another Skeleton Crew right now, he'd watch every episode front to back. But the other thing that surprised us that he was really, really, really into, and it got reinvigorated the other day because the Black Series Quimir helmet arrived. He loved the Acolyte. Specifically when they introduced Quimir, and he was all about it. He would come downstairs with his old Kylo Ren helmet. This is an 11-year-old or 10-year-old at the time, and watch these movies. When that helmet came the other day, he went into his room, took his iPhone, put the helmet on, got his red lightsaber, and did a photo head on that he was going to post. And so, to answer the question, yes, there's all these other things. but he 100% has been interested in stories that do reach his generation.
Yeah. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's been very encouraging.
Yeah. So I have an almost 9-year-old daughter. Hello Kitty, YouTube. That is the thing. Bluey loves Bluey.
I mean, it's the best kids cartoon of all time.
It really is fantastic. And oddly enough, Arthur, PBS Kids, keep PBS on air. But what I think is from my standpoint, because I also work at a university, right? So I literally am in the heart of Gen Z culture from my observation.
Did we lose him?
It's a hard thing to say, because I think this is also the last 10 years have been the first opportunity where we have better streaming metrics. We have better data metrics of how to classify oftentimes the wrong information, especially once it get to the executive level. And so what happens is that, the ADD has never been worse. Between TikTok and Instagram, it is noticeably harder for my daughter to watch something that requires you to pay attention the whole time. So episodes like Bluey are about 6 to 7 minutes long. They're perfect. And that's great for her. Arthur is about 15 minutes. We watch Lego Masters, which is a kind of like, she's into game shows because there's a matter of elemental gamification, of course. But like in terms of narrative pieces, it's hard for her to sit through stuff because she just will zone out. So in how it relates to Gen Z, what I think is interesting is that this generation of upcoming youths has their source of information comes in actually about the same as all of ours, but they have no context of when or where it's from. Because you have the option, like I was describing this. I told her, I said, June, you've got to watch something all the way through. Like I can't have you just being like, yep, I'm going to change it and then switch to something else, like completely different. Like it was crazy watching her go from YouTube to Netflix to Disney Plus to that. I'm like, we gotta stop this. Calm down. To describe to her that we used to have to go up and make sure the VHS was rewound. And then to change the VHS out in case you really you had to be somewhat committed because it was a process, you know what I mean? And even with the DVDs, you'd have to go in and there were certain parts of the episodes that had different DVDs and you had to put those in. There was a process to make sure, I have to make a conscious decision to sit down. Once I sit on the couch, I'm not getting up. I put the DVD in, there we go. But the options for them between content and even things like music. My students have literally had a kid last summer, 2 years ago, whenever that was, whenever Eddie played on top of the trailer and played Master of Puppets. Kid came in.
Stranger Things. Yeah.
Yep. In Stranger Things. Kid came in, had a Metallica shirt on. I was like, that shirt is awesome. She goes, oh yeah, it's from Stranger Things. And I was like,
and by the way, my kid's obsessed with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's from Stranger Things, and I got it from Target.
Yeah. But I was like, tell me more about that. She's like, well, in the show, and kind of explained to me that there was this rocker that wears this band's t-shirt and they're called Metallica. And I'm like, oh no, I know who they are. I'm curious your story. But Master of Puppets was trending on her Spotify feed. So of course she added it because culturally it became relevant again. And so for her, she doesn't need to know that Master of Puppets is nearly a 40-year-old song at this point. It just sounds good. They like it. So they don't realize that you walk into Harmony House and you had to go, hey, is the album out yet? Yes, it is. Here's the poster for it. Okay. And you're flipping through it and it might be sold out. You have no recollection. It just pops up on your thing. You start listening to it. So they have no context of what is young, what is old. And so from that standpoint, they don't build in some ways the same nostalgia that we have come to know blockbusters, modern entertainment are built almost entirely on nostalgia for the biggest franchises right now. Alien Earth, Deadpool and Wolverine, all of these things are all relying on stuff that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. Star Wars being one of them too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's a very interesting conversation, but I was sitting in K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along in the movie theater, which I also know the last most well-attended movie experience for Gen Z was the Minecraft movie.
Right.
Which is something that I've never even turned on. I don't even know what Minecraft looks like other than
There's just two words, chicken jockey. I don't know what it means.
yeah.
Dude, I saw the clips from people reacting to that line, and it was like the meme of people erupting in the pub, you know, with the screen like playing a soccer game or whatever.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I've never heard those two words together ever, and people are losing their minds globally.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, Mike, you're onto something that's actually happening in business right now too,
Mhm.
and this nostalgia thing, and you know, whether it's doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, the country is in an interesting spot, period. And you know, when things like this happen, it triggers the comfort things, right? So if you look at stock market retail brands and also restaurant brands that are doing well right now, they're all nostalgia based.
Sure.
So Abercrombie and Fitch is back.
Yep.
Who ever thought that could happen?
Have you been in that lately though? It's like the
had-
best store in the mall. Like
Right,
straight up.
right. Oh no,
Like I would buy something there.
they
It's
done
like
great.
totally different.
100%. You
Yeah.
know, but you know, then so you've got now, and then we can go back to the ones that aren't doing so well right now. But Victoria's Secret even just posted an increase, which is interesting.
Ed Hardy
is
Applebee's,
back.
all of these things. So you can, and what's interesting is they're all Gap's. They did some marketing recently that's like, you know, they were putting it up against American Eagle marketing. It's like, this is marketing, you know. And so in business, this nostalgia thing is definitely back too. And, you know, kids are loving it. I mean, I remember when my daughters went back and watched Full House, like the whole thing. And I caught my daughter a couple of months ago upstairs. She was rewatching all of Hannah Montana. And now, just for reference, my daughters are almost 22 and 19. So they're adults at this point. And to see them go back and watch things that I watched them when they were younger than Mike's daughter watching, you know, it's an interesting time. So does Star Wars and you know, with Jack now all of a sudden just picking up episode 3, you know, does Star Wars have this same kind of opportunity and renaissance if Disney can kind of feed into it?
Well, how much is to like I know you kind of touched on it that it's happening in business. How much of it is the cycle of nostalgia that is older than time, you know, in America, like whatever, you know, like it happens to everybody. Like you're in Target and they're playing 80s music and you're like, I love this song, I'm going to buy something. And it's like, oh, I just got, you know, like, of course, whatever Flock of Seagulls is on, I love this song, you know, like I'm in a good mood now, you know? So that's calculated, but also how much of that is then people our age are the executives now. So that's where their creativity is. But then it's almost like a triangle of those two things. And then the third thing being, I have to keep my job. What is proven? You know, you can't just come out of the, like, I came up with this great idea. It's called K-pop Demon Hunters. You know, it's like, but do you see how massive it is when it's a brand new idea? You know, like, do you see how big Nirvana was? And then there's 20 Nirvana ripoffs that aren't as big as Nirvana. It's like, the creativity is less and less rewarded these days, which is a scary thing. Like, and now Disney, after they just, you know, it's almost like, oh, how did this happen? It's like, you did this, bro. Like, now you're asking for creators to like be creative with new IP. It's like, dude, all you did was Marvel and Star Wars and redoing your successful cartoons as live action. And now they're like, oh, people don't like that anymore.
Well, dude, it's always been that way to some degree. You know, I was just listening to I rewatched Tango and Cash, which is hilarious. You know, action movie from, you know, it's
great movie. It's fun.
From the late 80s. And then I listened to an episode of the Rewatchables about it, and they're talking about how Stallone was just he was just killing it in the sequel world. You know, he had done 3 Rockies by then. He had done a couple Rambos. The 90s were full of sequels. It was the same shit, you know,
Totally.
30 years ago. And even before that, I mean, so many movies that we grew up on, we didn't realize were remakes. So Hollywood's always done it. But that, to reinforce your point, combined with how much more content there is, makes it even harder. So the studios have to lean even harder into stuff that they feel like is a guaranteed hit, because no one knows how to solve these fucking equations anymore, because there's no monoculture. You can't just force people to like things anymore like you used to be able to do with the radio, TV, and limited box office. There are just too many outlets, so capturing attention becomes the goal. But ultimately, no one knows how to do it in a way that monetizes at the level that these corporations need, because the social media algorithm is about bite-sized stuff nonstop, the feed that activates that psychological thing. Like there's no version of that gets us to sit down and watch 2.5 hours of shit beginning to end.
I read an article yesterday that said there is not, you know, of course they framed it in like the death of the Cape or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Not a single superhero movie makes over $700 million. Are we in trouble? I'm like, do you realize how much money that is?
Yeah. All these Star Wars movies, by the way, they all made money. Lots of money.
A lot of money. But I think, Nick, Adam, have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah.
I've only heard those words in sequence the number of times I can count on one hand.
Sure.
You made me aware of it for the first time, pointing out a Disney creator or something covering it.
Right. And
then we talked about it for this podcast. So I'm so completely out of the loop. I feel like I'm the boomer now, Nick. I'm sorry, I'm taking the boomer position.
Well, I think the interesting part that I is how it was kind of described to me. I watched it actually on the way to San Diego Comic-Con. Was like, it has 90s Disney vibes, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm curious what this means, because Disney to me is still very much Disney. But when I watched it, it's a very simple story. It's incredibly simple. There are 3 demon hunters that get a legendary power passed on to them. They're also they're the biggest K-pop band in the world. And they have, in between them having this outside focus of being a girl band, they also slay demons, who is trying to make the world a sadder place. And they protect this like shield around the planet that's called the Han Moon. And then there's a big demon who's trying to break the Han Moon and take all the souls from the people. I literally just described the entire movie to you. It's that simple, right? So there's not like, where did Jinyu come from? And where did where is the Han Moon? How does the Han Moon work? Like the way that we are.
No one's asking these questions.
Exactly. Like the way that we are so trained to be like, well, there's, in the Star Wars, which is kind of where Star Wars is like sitting here, like trying to squeeze blood out of this rock. There is no graphic novel that was ready to go that explains the tales of the Han Moon. And there's no one that's like, Jinyu's first years of being the worst demon in the world. Like, none of that's there. They just literally were like, the songs are banger. It's a very simple story. K-pop Demon Hunters.
Is it technically a musical, by the way?
It literally is a Disney 90s. There's probably 6 songs in the whole movie that are all absolute radio bangers.
Yeah.
But
as if they were like, let's just write 6 good songs. And then people are like, okay, they're good. Yeah. We'll write good ones this time. Okay, no problem.
And who knows how this was like, workshopped or whatever, where they came. Okay, you got banger songs. They're all singable. That are all going to be radio hits. That are going to approach multiple generations. Like, all you had to do was be interested in any of the assembled bands from the late 90s, and you're there. And pair it with the animation. That's the coolest animation,
which
I
is
think, I personally think
Spider-Verse.
out there, which is Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse
right?
style. Yeah.
Like not your traditional Princess style, not your traditional DreamWorks style. The coolest animation that there is right now.
Right.
So you got
Right.
that.
Right.
Unknown cast. I mean, for the most one actor that
Daniel Kim is
Yeah.
like the biggest
Yeah.
actor and all that. Yeah.
and and again, simple story, good versus evil, set to a boy band versus a girl band.
Yeah. Yeah. But what's also crazy about it, the way that we're talking about it, all of this, Sony has been working on this. Literally, one of an alumni from our university wrote a story about it 2 summers ago saying this movie we're working on. Sony felt so unconfident upon its release that they gave it essentially to Netflix. And it is the most streamed movie on Netflix. Just came out
in like a handful of theaters with a handful of showings.
Yeah, yeah. So it's on Netflix. They showed it at the Tudum Theater. Like, I mean, Sony once again looking for that $700 million. It did not fit their metric, and they like literally blockbustered themselves for Netflix. It's crazy to me, but like this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about where like my daughter has watched that. The song, we're listening to the songs, we're watching it. She's watched it 10 times at this point. That is going to be her 5 years from now when we're on K-pop Demon Hunters 5, 6, you know what I mean? At this point, she's going to go back and watch the original, and that is going to be her Saved by the Bell rewatch, her the OC rewatch.
That's ultimately what, when bringing us back to Star Wars, it's like I can't think of more than 2 paths when it comes to a child, like the conversation we're having here of, do kids like Star Wars? Either your parents get you into it or you find it, and it's like, which one of those both could be meaningful to anybody. I'm not even just talking about kids. We were all kids once, we found it, or we had someone else show it to us, right? But the discovery of finding something on your own is one positive experience, and then a parent or sibling or family member showing you Star Wars is another positive experience. So it's more about the exposure to me, because right now, to Adam's point, and we've said it a million times, there's too much stuff to watch, and nobody has long-term, watchability. Like, no one could sit on a couch without their phone and watch a movie. And people don't want to go to movie theaters anymore. So I guess the third option besides those 2 is that they're just not watching Star Wars, and that's might be the bigger issue. But we know that it's making money. People are watching Star Wars. But for young kids, unless they find it on their own, which is probably the least probable option, I think a family member or friend showing it to them would be like a pretty big deal, because that also is part of community. Or they're just watching Bluey and K-pop Demon Hunters, and Star Wars isn't their thing, like it's just.
But the other thing with this phenomenon, since we'll stick with it for a second, there's no lift to it. In other words, I don't need to have 12 movies or 40 whatever movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point with multiverses in between. I don't need to know anything. I can just go enjoy it, and that's it.
But that's part of it too, for sure, is being at the beginning of something. Star Wars 100%. Is daunting because it's like, I'm behind. Like, I don't know where to start. Where does this movie take place? I'm not watching it. Like, how many times have we all heard that?
It's an interesting thing to consider when Warner Brothers, like, because I talked to my students, I'm like, what is your thing? Like, what is your franchise? And they were laughing about Minecraft. I'm like, did you guys go see the Minecraft movie? They're like, well, yeah, of course. They said it as if like it was like going to see the Mario movie, right? But they were like, oh yeah, Harry Potter for sure. And I was like, dude, Harry Potter was a millennial thing. I saw the first 4 Harry Potter movies when I was in high school. You know what I mean? And so what you consider is that those were the like older siblings that brought the younger generation to them, because you're in high school, you're bringing your little brother or your little sister to come see it. The books were being released at the same time. So that was almost like the bridge. And they also said Marvel. Marvel was their thing. Now, if they didn't see it, I saw Iron Man in the theater 2008, saw this whole thing get started. But again, if your experience is what's marketed to you, phase one of the leading up to the Avengers was absolutely hitting Gen Z, just not in the theatrical experience, right?
Right.
So when we look at what Warner Brothers is doing, which is kind of crazy, rather than reintroduce, the latest thing, of course, for a lot of movie theaters is these anniversary showings, right? Like, I'm going to go see Jaws this weekend, 50 years later, right? What Warner Brothers is doing, instead of like getting people hyped on Harry Potter again, they're rebooting Harry Potter again to try and reintroduce it to Gen Z in all of the same footprint as the old one. Like, there's not a single thing that looks different to me.
Right. So I'll give you now let's take it back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
We will all argue that my generation didn't love the prequels originally, right? We've all grown to appreciate them over time for better, for worse, whatever. However, those prequels, when they hit the kids, the 11-year-olds that they were intended for, you could go into Phantom Menace and not know a dang thing about the original trilogy. And because it's the start. It's actually the start. And, we all kind of look at the idea of rebooting Star Wars from a beginning is blasphemous, right? We all think of that as blasphemous. On the other hand, is it? Or is that what's going to happen? Because, look, my generation, there's a lot of folks that want to see Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Andor and everything. They even forget that it's all about fascism because it's the cool things in white armor we used to love, right? I'm 52 and I couldn't care less about revisiting Star Wars. I don't want to see and I know I'm a minority of my age, but I don't want to see Luke Skywalker again. I don't need to.
That story's been told.
It's been told. I understand, and I don't need to come back. I loved Skeleton Crew because it could stand on its own, and you can have fun with it. I loved the Andor bit because it was just great television, right? You could watch Andor from the beginning to the end without Star Wars because there were no Jedi. Everyone wants Luthen to be a Jedi and everything, and I'm sure there's an internet group of people that were let down that he wasn't, But I personally want the story to move on. And, we can argue, my child loved the sequels. I liked the sequels. I have no problem with Rey. I have no problem with Rey Skywalker even. All good. But it relied on standing on the shoulders of that nostalgia versus starting over the way the prequels did.
Yeah. I mean, so to touch on everything that you guys have just said in sequence here the past like 5 minutes or so, it shows how clearly Star Wars is in its own category. Like, movies haven't been around long enough for a franchise to get to this place until now. I think the closest thing would be something like James Bond, where I think about all the James Bond movies. I've seen a few,
or Star Trek that's not canonical, but yeah.
Right. But like in terms of stuff that I haven't seen much of, but existed long before I was born, I wouldn't know exactly where my entry point should be for that. But it matters a lot less, actually, because
there is no overarching story.
Right. And, there's a reboot cycle to it, even though it's not a hard reboot. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of like Doctor Who in a way, in that sense, but Star Wars is unique in that it's about as close as you can get to a watertight canon that's almost 50 years old.
That is what makes it unique, is that the stories are every story that gets written in the future still honors every story from the past. I would actually argue that the only other thing that might be doing it now in modern entertainment, to Nick's very big surprise, is wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they bring back classic wrestlers to come back with their gravitas because not only of just who they, I know that they like write it into their story that they're like, I'm a part of the show now, but like literally like The Rock is playing a character in wrestling right now, which I don't know anything about wrestling. I know just barely enough to know what's happening in terms of like modern storytelling, which is actually live action theater. But like The Rock is playing a character that honors who The Rock was when I was in 4th grade watching the Brahma Bull for the first time. And the same way that Undertaker gets brought back when shit really hits the fan of going, hey, we need people to watch this.
Yeah.
Undertaker
Kids like The
familiar.
Rock.
Yeah,
because he's Maui and he's like he has all these fun things.
Right.
And because Star Wars has this like 50-year canon now, and there were downtimes, we call it the dark times between the original trilogy and the prequels, and then the prequels and the sequels. It still wasn't that much time, not that much downtime relative to other things. And because they didn't reboot it, there's not even an opportunity for it to go away long enough for it to be forgotten and then rediscovered, or uncool and then cool again. I think about like bands I discovered because I pulled out my mom's old record player and her vinyl. I could listen to bands that she tried to show me when I was little on my own and feel like I dug them up out of the ground. Like listening to Led Zeppelin 4 and Black Sabbath Paranoid on my own time, without my mom making me, made it cool because it was out of the zeitgeist until that moment when it was rediscovered. Like Nick and I, our bands are that same interval. I was discovering bands from the 60s and 70s like kids are discovering our bands now, because we got uncool for a while. Those bands got uncool for a while.
I get a lot of that. I get my students will go, oh yeah, my dad's into them.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, your dad sounds cool as hell. We should hang out. But no, that is a thing. It's like, it definitely, there is that, exactly to your point. It's like the Metallica thing. But her dad likes Metallica, so that was a cool point of connection for her, but she did not get it because her dad's a fan of Metallica. She got it because Eddie played Master of Puppets to close the Upside Down. You know what I mean?
Part of that too is like, how hard is it to stay relevant? Because in order for you to stay relevant, you have to acknowledge that the world is changing around you.
Right.
Like the Black Album by Metallica, if that was just Master of Puppets again, sure, it would have been popular. But like, if after that album they just did Master of Puppets again, like, they'd go the way of the buffalo.
Cut their hair.
They did shit that was actually bad to try and stay relevant, which is
and now people
weird.
Look at that era and go, damn,
that's their prequels.
They went for it.
Like people are like, basically the reload and load era is Jar Jar Binks. Right. Let's just say
it. and is Sane Anger the acolyte, I guess, according to the fans?
Right.
Don't say that about the acolyte.
It's very, we're saying this as like the armchair quarterback, if that's even the right term, where it's like, of course, looking at all of this and being like, this is what's happening. But it's so hard to stay relevant because almost no one does it, because you have to acknowledge the world is changing around you and then balance who you are with the new world constantly. And it's like, you can't do it.
A new thing, has the ability to kind of come out and just address an audience. So again, I was 5 years old when Star Wars came out, and I saw it in the theater, and my little head was blown away. So when we talk about the discovery, that's where I discovered it when it happened, and I'm cooler than y'all because of that, obviously. But no, it's
fair. It's very fair.
It's one of many reasons you're cooler than us.
Stop. But y'all are rock stars. But the point of that is that for me, it wasn't a discovery thing. It just happened, right? It was just like K-pop Demon Hunters. It didn't exist, and then all of a sudden it existed. The problem is now, in this article that came out, and obviously the internet has taken it. It's start now they're going to go anti-woke and all that. All the made all the mistakes and everything. So the internet's interneting and doing all of its thing. But the real problem is that they're wrestling with trying to still talk to me.
Yes.
And I'm old and I'm not purchasing the things I am, but I'm not typical that they need to be purchasing. And ultimately, I'm dying. Like I'm getting really old, and I have other responsibilities. And
Same, dude.
and maybe I'm not watching Andor the second it comes out anymore, but I'm gonna watch it. But we can bring up our favorite thing, the Star Cruiser. I would have gone on it if Luke Skywalker was on it. Yeah, it's like, no, you wouldn't have. You still hated the price, So
Right, yeah.
this wanting to play to me is going to be a recipe for failure. And when they do something like Skeleton Crew, and then they say, and say this is made for them because guys, you just hate everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm so look, I am Disney's biggest fan on this planet. I will do anything for Disney and especially give them, good advice if I can. But the reality
They're
was,
listening.
I don't listen to me. But the reality is that stop addressing me. The reason why you lost me in the sequels was because you listened to all these people that didn't like The Last Jedi. And here's the most controversial thing I will say. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies because it said, I'm going to start over.
Yep.
We're going to start this thing over.
Yep.
But there was definitely a room of people that caved.
Yep.
And,
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it affected Solo because Solo got a release time
For financial reasons too.
100%.
That's it. 100%.
And which was a great movie. Obviously, it's the one that's in the back because it's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
And then it caused a massive rewrite of The Rise of Skywalker to bring in all the things in theory that are touchy-feely to me. And I was basically like, no, we're rebooting the entire Resistance story. Oh, by the way, and all of us took place in theory in that story that was supposed to happen between it. And that was exciting to me. Snoke's gone. Wait, okay, so we can start over and really do this right, begin again, and then we didn't.
Just one thing though, to play devil's advocate, it was supposed to be Leia's movie. Carrie Fisher died.
Right.
They were up against the wall. That was like an unsolvable problem. But
100%.
I still love the movie. But
me too, because I if they produce 2 hours of Jar Jar Binks farting on screen, I will go watch it and love it.
Same.
The thing that the last thing maybe we hit on, if we need to talk about it, but maybe we close it out, is also looking at the Disney brand as actually being poison in appearance for Gen Z. The same way that Alien Earth is a show that's on FX, but it's a Hulu show, but it's also on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? And so like you're in this weird thing wherever I log into Disney Plus, it's very weird to me to see a xenomorph covered in blood the same way that I see Deadpool and Wolverine stabbing each other, the same way that I also see like half of these movies that I'm like, this is not supposed to be in Disney Plus, because literally when I go to log in my profile avatar, it's Bluey.
There's going to be WWE there soon too. It's just, it's money, man.
And there's so many weird cultural things clashing in the like.
So this is like kind of one of those things where it's like is Star Wars worth its own streaming verse now at this point? Like, would Disney be smart to actually break up their streaming to identify as certain brands? Because like FX is actually a strong brand for TV. It is known as having gritty stories, shows like Atlanta, The Shield, Justified, tons of like what I would think would be like kind of iconic shows that actually pushed the barrier for cable at the time. I know that if FX was going to do it, that's pretty sweet. Then I trust that Alien is going to be done right.
Which it is, by the way.
And it's amazing, right? So like, it's weird to me though, that I think that Disney's almost like looking at everything being like, what's the unsolvable problem? And I'm still sitting here being like, it literally might be your name.
Yeah,
like,
dude. So that's talking about being able to change with the times and whatever. Well, like I said about the cultural factors, it's hard enough for a band to remain cool, let alone the 5 or 6 biggest corporations in the world, because not only are they corporations that are big, slow moving ships and they can't be cool in the way that something smaller can be cool, but people actively hate corporations right now. And then there's the conflict of like, corporatizing something that, like Star Wars, that ultimately was half a dozen independent films. Yes, distributed by Fox, but Lucasfilm was an independent studio. Lucas could do whatever the hell he wanted. Kathleen Kennedy gets absolutely raked over the coals for, quote, destroying Star Wars. I'm not saying she's made all the best decisions in the world, but she's also answering to a corporation in a way that George never had to. So it's this multifaceted
Very
problem,
fair point.
and you throw the pandemic in it, you throw the change to streaming into it. Like, there are so many factors now.
2
It's hard.
CEOs.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I look at it, again, I'm a big fan of the business side of it as well. And we've seen, again, I'll go back to Star Cruiser. How can we not mention Star Cruiser? This is a thing that was a complete success. That the biggest entertainment corporation on the planet, I believe, couldn't figure out how to market it properly. Right? I mean, ultimately, if someone asks me about it, blah blah blah, I'm gonna be like, they didn't know what they had. They didn't know what to do with it, and I can't
Sony
necessarily.
and K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right. And so sometimes things that are niche and sometimes things that are more boutique need to and bespoke need to have a smaller, big corporations. It's a hard thing for them to do small things right. And that's just true. It's hard. I mean, I can tell you, I've been in big corporations, small corporations. It's hard. It's very hard. I don't fault them for that. But I talk about the economics of Disney a lot, and one of the things I go on is what I call the princess problem. The princess problem is you have to get the little girl into the princess that carries her through her when she becomes a big sister so she can do it for her little sister. And then when she's a teenager, it might go away for a little bit, but it comes back very quickly when you become a mom again and get nostalgic, and then you teach your kid about princesses, and it keeps going and keeps going, and the movies keep going with it.
And now your princess is a xenomorph.
Yeah. And
she's a
so
great mom.
if you want to do it, with Star Wars, you can keep doing the same thing, right? I need to teach Jack about Star Wars. Who's Jack going to teach about Star Wars?
Right.
And so this princess problem all of a sudden becomes an economic business problem, right? Because if she's not interested in, and remember, 70% of the retail decisions of a family are made by the female of the family. Period. That's just a fact. And if she's not interested in it, she ain't going to Disney World. She didn't care.
Yep.
They ain't buying princess stuff. And all of a sudden, this gravy train, this annuity, generational annuity, starts slowing down and becomes problematic. And you can take Star Wars and Marvel and say, listen, there's been great, and there's been some that's not great. It's a smorgasbord. Pick what you like what all that. But the princess problem is going to be very problematic unless it gets figured out. And my personal solution is stop paying attention to me. And this is where this this conversation goes full circle and says, focus on them. Focus on them. Make me have to buy the thing for them. I might actually like it, like K-pop Demon Hunters. We have friends that are just, they can't stop singing it. They can't stop watching it. I was on a cruise last week and I watched it 6 times, and I heard the songs every 5 minutes in between. I sing them in the shower. I can't stop, and I'm not really that into it.
Hit us with some.
Going
Come
up,
sing it.
no, I can't. I don't sing.
That's how it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
can do it. So yes, so this is a bigger problem, and they are going to have to be smart and figure it out. And and to the thing, do kids watch Star Wars anymore? It's a bigger problem than that. What are the kids going to be into? And it's not about me anymore. It's just not.
Well, I have a couple thoughts in response to what you said that brings us all the way back to the beginning. I think we should end this now, continue this conversation for a few minutes in the bonus segment for patrons. It is an unsolvable problem, but I think there's also, we'll just save it. Patreon.com/ThinkToMakerPod if you want to check that out. Justin, thanks for being here. We love to see your face.
RSVLTS.com to check out the latest. What was the drop today? I think it was Goosebumps today.
Goosebumps, our first, it was great. Goosebumps was great. And,
so good. Speaking of nostalgia, the designs, the David and all the behind the scenes team, like they're just crushing it. Everything you guys are doing is crushing it. It's awesome.
They're so talented. It's just an honor to be in their presence of all of this like really creative minds that throw things around every day.
Well, and to see like the support for them to go and do it. I mean, I've been in the back when like they're changing the sets. It's a ton of work. And I know that it could be a lot cheaper to just shoot people on green screen and just figure something out. But like
sets they come up with are amazing.
They're awesome. And I love that the support is there for the brand to continue to have them to do that. So kudos to you guys, you and John, for just crushing it. It's awesome to see. I'm so glad that you got brought on board and that you guys have been such a support of both Mosh Isley and Thank the Maker as a podcast. We love you, bro. And we'll see you soon.
Sooner than later, hopefully.
Yes.
If you're listening or watching, the Roosevelt's first time purchase discount code isn't a code anymore. It's a link, which we can send you. If you share something about Thank the Maker in your stories and message us that you want the link, we will send it to you. 20% off your first purchase. Holler at us on Instagram.
Make it easier on yourself.
Talk about generational shit.
We don't know what the TikTok is. We don't know what that is.
It's Instagram. All right. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next week, may the force be with you. Thank the Maker is produced by Adam Russell and Jason Chiodo and edited by Jason Chiodo. If you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/ThankTheMakerPod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and more. Our patrons literally make Thank the Maker possible.